Good afternoon. Can everybody hear me? Okay, well, thank you for attending our Scams, Shams, and Other Shameful Thing presentations. Today, I am really pleased. Our guest speaker today is Cassidy Paganucci, and she's with the Placer County District Attorney's Office. She's an assistant investigator. And for those of you who did not get handouts, we have more on that table. So please welcome Cassidy. Thank you so much.
Hi, everybody. So thanks for having me. Please feel free to ask questions throughout it. I'll bring you the microphone so everybody can hear. As said, my name is Cassidy Paganucci. I am from the District Attorney's Office right here in Roseville, and I'm grateful to be on Placer Protect. That's our Elder Abuse Task Force team dedicated to victim support and victim prevention, like this outreach presentation. So I will focus on scams and financial abuse, but we do a little coverage of elder abuse in general. So, as I said, it's a task force team, which means we work with a lot of county partners in our agencies of law enforcement, as well as government agencies, nonprofits like Alzheimer's Association and Seniors First, and all gather and meet to make sure we're taking care of you guys in our community. So if you really need anything, I hope I can be a point of contact after this. On the resources is our Protect email address that goes to my hotline, as well as a fraud hotline. So please reach out and I'll try to get you to the right resource. So elder abuse, it is physical, it is financial, there's also a section of neglect. So we don't just wanna, I don't wanna just keep you thinking about financial abuse today. So why do you think you're targets of abuse as a senior? Why do you guys think you're easy targets? Your age. Vulnerable. Yes. Yeah. Lack of hair, lack of transportation, lack of technology, knowledge. Yes. Widows, yeah, maybe lonely, isolated, trusting. That's why I'm so grateful to see you all here today and know that you have each other to hopefully lean on and discuss maybe what is happening in your life so that we can protect you together. I mean, you're the eyes and ears of the community. I'll get to our portion on adult protective services, but that's really where you can play a part in keeping each other safe and healthy. So yes, you named a lot of great reasons why you guys are targets of abuse and why it's important that our office is able to be in the community, more of a boots on the ground approach to make sure you guys are not becoming victims of violence or of self-neglect or isolation from loneliness and being a widow, or, as we all know, scams. So physical abuse is not just relying on bruising. It is also a lack of just hygiene, really, and knowing that you're taking the right medications or your caregiver is not misusing the dosages when they give them to you or not giving them to you. There's other signs of abuse that should be noted aside from just looking at bruises. So we just want to kind of bring that to light if you're noticing somebody becomes less kept, maybe their hair, it's not just falling out, but maybe like they're just not brushing it or showering as often. That could be some underlying type of abuse, especially if they have a caregiver. Look into that, and if they don't have a caregiver, let's look into maybe getting them one if they're willing to receive that help. So in-person scams is something that we don't hear of often in the community, but it does happen. It's not just the telephone, it's not just emails, it's also in person. So for example, I've said caregiver a couple of times. We just want you to be aware of caregivers and people that are frequently in your house could be eventually the suspect that's victimizing you. So we never expect or hope that that's happening because it's somebody you know, love, and trust. but that is exactly why it can happen so easily. You're trusting. You know them. You think it wouldn't ever happen to you. Shannon, the prosecutor of elder abuse cases in our county, is in court today. It's the Family Protection Unit Day, and the caseload is heavy because sometimes it is the adult child. That's not technically a caregiver, but it's them in the family. And any victim, majority of the victims that we work with that are elders, they'll say, I never thought my daughter would do that to me. I never thought my son would do that to me. And so that's why we're here, just kind of shining a light on ways that you can protect yourself. So, checkbooks, where do you guys keep those in your home? Safe. Oh, the safe, that's awesome. In your purse, yes. Maybe, yeah, I was gonna say maybe the top drawer in your home, a special drawer, exactly. So we all have common areas. The fact we all have a common area, it allows the person in your home to look in those common areas. So a safe is the best place to keep those valuables. Jewelry, we don't want it just in the jewelry box. Put it also in the safe, or at least when you know that person is going to be in your house. You know, medications, where do you keep those? Put them in the safe, not just the medicine cabinet, not in your kitchen, where it's a common area that we all would go look for it, because then it's easily taken. Any valuables, really. And I have the watch your purse grocery card up there. We'll get to another section, but where's a common place you keep your purse when you're grocery shopping? Just right in front, right? We all do it. So we're hoping we'll start belting it. I love this. You guys are ahead of the game, and that's the goal, is really making sure you're aware that you can use that belt. We can briefly encourage you to get a power of attorney to make sure your trust is, if you understand what you're signing before you sign things like that. That's the main thing. And with a trust, if it's written correctly and well written, it'll have a clause that says, for my benefit. So whoever you're giving the power to have authority of your money, or who, not just the trust and wills, but the power of attorney, whoever you're putting in place for that, they can only spend your money for your benefit. And that allows our office to hopefully prosecute if criminal activity is occurring because somebody's misusing your finances. So make sure that if your trust or will or power of attorney is a little outdated, or you're not sure what it says, you're reviewing it, and you're reviewing it with an attorney and making sure you understand what is said. And this is good to have also the medical side of things before you start possibly maybe having cognitive impairments and it kicks into place without you being able to choose who's in charge of your financial decisions and medical decisions. So we just want to encourage you. We have Legal Services of Northern California. I keep pointing up there, sorry, you guys know I can see that, but okay, yeah, I'm like pointing to the big creator who we love. Yes, but so make sure that you have a contact, or I can connect you with Legal Services of Northern California, who gives free legal advice to seniors, and they are part of our task force team. And they're based out of Auburn. Okay, scams. The main hot topic nowadays, and especially when we go out in the community with these presentations. So, who doesn't know what a scam is? Right, everyone has heard scam. So we're gonna talk about all sorts of scams, but who's had maybe the IRS reach out and say you owe money? Anyone? Yep, especially right now, it's tax season. So things go in cycles, and they know when it's tax season, then they start ramping up on the IRS scams. So just be aware of that. If that happens to you, please know even our great resources and partners in the government will be the first to tell you they don't work that fast. So you're not gonna file your tax and get a phone call within a couple days or a couple weeks. They don't work like that in the government. It'll be a letter, it'll be later down the line. However, even if you get that letter in the mail, question it all and call our fraud hotline to get the correct IRS phone number to confirm, or go to the trusted source if you have it already saved somewhere that you've used before and you know it's the actual IRS's phone number. Don't go off of the letter or the email or the text. or the voicemail. Those numbers can all be fake. The grandparent scam. Has anybody been a victim of the grandparent scam or known about it? Yeah, we all have had that possible, in a dire situation, grandchild needing emergency financial support. So please just know that with artificial intelligence, which I'll touch on in a little bit too, anybody can look or sound like a grandchild now. In investigations, we do a training, and it was Elon Musk speaking to me, but it really was like our lieutenant with the face recognition put on top of his face and voiceover. So it looked like it was Elon speaking to us, and it's not. And that's what we want you guys to understand. Things can be artificial now, for sure. So if that grandchild is calling you, we encourage family passcodes to be set up. So kind of establish that now as a proactive measure to take in preventing that from tricking you guys into sending money to somebody that's not actually your grandchild. So I have my parents, we have a passcode, one that's not easily related to you on Google or Facebook, okay? Not like the city you were born in or your pet's first name. Something unique that you could ask to confirm if that's really your grandchild. Best case scenario, when you get anything like that, you just hang the phone up and you call that grandchild. Same with if it's the IRS or your bank or whoever that person's claiming to be. So those are some examples. Amazon, PayPal, contractor, romance. Pastor, yeah, yes, yep, yeah. Sadly, right? I've heard of it actually being successful, some scams at churches. And so thanks for pointing that out. Truly, anybody claiming to be anybody, a boss or a friend, anybody at all, it can be questioned, and hang that phone up or don't engage in the email or text. Go to the source with the trusted contact you've already had. So red flags to recognize. The takeaway here, we could stay up here all day and I could give you examples like we just did of the IRS or the grandchild. But the takeaway is 4 red flags for you guys to identify to know that it's a scam. Number 1, pretending to be somebody. It's spoofing, technically in law enforcement language. They're pretending to be the IRS, your pastor, your bank, your healthcare, anybody. Just question anybody reaching out to you and the validity of them. Number 2, it's usually a problem, but they can tell you there's a problem or a prize. Or if you don't comply immediately, the pressure to act immediately, then a problem will happen. So there's either already a problem, like your grandchild is like in a car accident and needs help or needs bail money because they were arrested, there's a problem. Or they say you need to send them money to do something, secure your accounts, or send them money so your accounts don't get jeopardized. Like there will be a problem if you don't send that money, especially revolving around and involving money. That's a sign of a scam. So if they're pretending to be somebody, they're gonna create a problem if you don't comply, or if you need to make a decision right then and there and have no time to think about it, those are red flags. Last, it's a specific form of payment. When they're so adamant about you wiring the money, or it needs to be in cash, or it needs to be in crypto or Bitcoin, red flags. And no reputable company is going to make you make a decision on the spot and make it be paid in a certain format. Like it's going to be acceptable when you're ready to make a decision and however you want to pay. So those are real takeaways. I have gift cards on the slides too. We still see that occurring. We're hoping that employees at grocery stores or Best Buy or Home Depot are now a little more educated with recognizing if there's a senior specifically purchasing a bundle of gift cards, that they question maybe kindly, because they care. Where are you sending those gift cards? Who are you sending them to? Did you verify that that person's real? Did you make sure that, just taking the steps to really kind of consider what the situation is, that it could be a scam. So that's not up to the employees, but we hope that they're kind of working a little more diligently and recognizing that to protect you guys. So please know gift cards should be for gifts, not for payments. And that's the takeaway there. I put this as one of those flyers in your hands. It is small print on the screen, so I'm glad that they had it printed for you to take home. All of these resources that I discuss and more are available. If you want to email me, I can send them on a PDF through the email as well for you to retain in your email inbox and reference whenever. But our IT made this, and it's really cool to help kind of recognize and identify when it's a scam email. And just the internet is so tricky. There's little things to look for. The big takeaway is just the sender that's sending it to you. If it doesn't look like a real actual Comcast.net email or something like that, probably a red flag. Also, if you're not expecting the contact, if you're not expecting the call, or you didn't initiate it first, it's gonna be most likely a scam. So if you didn't call maybe PG&E, if you didn't call Verizon or AT&T, if you didn't call Sutter or recently go to Kaiser, and all of a sudden they're starting to talk to you somehow and try to convince you there's a deal or there's an issue with your account, especially your billing or your insurance, and you need to verify personal identifying info via email or a voicemail. However they're contacting you, those are red flags. So just take that away. The internet is tricky nowadays. Identity theft occurs, and we see that because they trick you into giving your social security number and personal identifying information. And it's encouraged for you to go home and Google your name after this. Just Google your name, or Google the address that you live at, or Google your phone number. Something that's related to you is free for scammers to find that info also online. So I had my parents put their name in, and it showed that I was related to them, our previous addresses, phone numbers, other relatives. And that's what scammers can see. They can cruise through neighborhoods, put an address in, find who stays at that address, pretend to be the mortgage company, try to have title fraud occur. So there's just ways that they can find info. Facebook, please have it private. Please make sure you know who your followers are. That's kind of how they get the info about grandchildren too. So just all of the internet, it can find out things about your identity and or allow people to find out about your identity, and then allow them to reach out and contact you and somehow either maybe even open a loan in your name. Like how many of you check your credit report? Yeah, I had that as one of the flyers when you walked in, the free credit report. It's free. You can do it through each credit bureau once a year, and I'd encourage you to do that just to make sure things look okay. But even more proactive is freezing the credit. So if you want to go to each credit bureau, you can freeze it again for free, and it lasts a year. And it really locks it down. It freezes it so that no one who maybe gets personal info from you can go and open a loan in your name. And then you don't even know until you're checking your credit. And then you owe $80,000 for the Mercedes they bought in Monterey. That's a real case that we had. And it was like a retired law enforcement gal that very on top of like being aware of scams, but she didn't freeze her file. She wasn't really checking it, you know. We all think it might not happen to us, but it can. It can happen to anyone, the smartest of us. You know, it could happen to me. I've fallen for scams sometimes, like when I see a deal shopping online. Now I just don't shop online. But yeah, we want you to just freeze your credit and just be aware of that. It's free. I have contractor scams here too. We want to mostly make sure you guys are checking the license. Make sure you're getting referrals before you're just hiring somebody. Make sure you're asking around who's used somebody and had success with that person. Also, just typing their name in online. It's sad when I get the fraud hotline calls and they are talking about a contractor that maybe completed the work, but it was poor workmanship, and they looked the name up after and saw terrible reviews, you know, afterwards. Or we have cases where they ask you to pay up front. You don't need to be paying up front until the work is completed. Don't pay more than 10% of the estimate or more than $1,000. And one case example is a lady needed her kitchen remodeled and wanted new cabinets, and this contractor was door knocking, soliciting, and she was like, wow, perfect, you know, I want cabinets, you know. He's, you know, charming, says, okay, well, if you pay me now, I'll go to Home Depot, get the things, and come back and do it. He didn't come back, and he didn't do it. And we were able to prosecute that because of some contracts also signed. Please make sure you know what you're signing if there's contracts involved with any finances or any decisions like that. So that's rare, though, for us to really hold people accountable. It's usually an investigation through the California State Licensing Board, and they can't really charge somebody for poor workmanship if the person is actually licensed. So that's why referrals is a good step to take, and really trusting who you're letting work on your home. Also, that's when you lock your valuables up if they're inside of your home, and your medicine and your checkbooks, things like that. Just staying on top of things, please. Scam solutions, artificial intelligence, like I mentioned. It's just on the rise. It's sketchy. We question everything now, and not really any way about it, like a way to prevent it from coming to you somehow. So we don't just have a do not call list or do not scam me list, you know, it's everywhere, unfortunately, and that's why this education is so important for you guys to question anything, especially if you didn't initiate the contact. Hanging up the phone call, just not engaging, don't answer any questions, that's just one big step to take. And if it has happened or it does happen to you, I like to include, like, don't be ashamed about that. Please don't be embarrassed, because it's okay. It's sophisticated now, and we want to hear about it, and we want to educate others and give examples or create a PSA on our Facebook, which we do sometimes have if we continue getting the same call and we understand now it's a trend happening. We want people to know about it. Recently, you know, there's something in Sun City. It's a beautiful place because it's a community where you guys are supported and there's activities and we love it, but it's also like a target because they know every resident there is 55 and older and maybe more vulnerable to scams. So that's when I can gratefully reach out to the Neighborhood Watch and try to tell them to maybe inform the people on their team to spread the word of a trend. So if it happens, please just share it with others so you can help it from happening to them. It's happening, and we got to look out for each other, like I said. So you can share your story. Law enforcement, too. Obviously, I can't just take a report on the fraud hotline. That's the difference. I'm not law enforcement. We want you to go down to Lincoln PD. They should know what's going on in their jurisdiction as well. They can take a report, and the process would be if it's a criminal possible report and not civil or not just the incident report, they can send it to our office to then further review and maybe hold that person accountable or help you somehow get your money back. Shop Safe, very proud of this. It's a branch under Placer Protect, just more of an outreach, but a program that's newer, and it partners with local businesses, specifically grocery stores. So like we mentioned, where do you put your purse? Right on top when you're shopping, hopefully with the belt. But further, hopefully zipped up and not open while you turn your back. So this began because we saw an influx of Adult Protective Service reports. The narrative reflected the same storyline. It was somebody distracted me in a grocery store. I didn't realize they took my wallet till I got to the register to check out and it was missing. Or further, a different type of scam, it's called cash drop scam. So the narrative with this was, somebody was behind me at the register and they told me I dropped a $20 bill and returned it to me. I put it in my wallet, grateful, oops, I dropped that cash, how nice of them, right? Well, when we got to the parking lot, they said, no, that's actually my money. So because you guys are so nice and trusting and weren't gonna take somebody's 20 that's not yours, you return it. When you take your wallet out, they go to reach for that 20 back from you because it's theirs. They take the credit card with the cash and you don't realize it because you're focused on the return of the cash. So it's really tricky and it's slick and it's fast. And so I caught myself noticing when I just was grocery shopping for myself, purses that were unzipped or seniors that were shopping alone, and I was just hyper aware of it and knew that it was happening, but we didn't have suspects yet in custody. But we needed to do something. And so who knows who the DA of Placer County is, the district attorney? Morgan Geyer? Yes, okay, he's amazing. He does a lot of outreach also in the community. He is a good man just through and through, and he does the right thing. He's supportive of Placer Protect and me being here today, not just in court supporting victims or at my desk working on cases, but doing something to hopefully prevent you as becoming victims. So I went to his office, and it's incredible to have a boss and a leader that you can walk in, open door policy, and just say, oh, we need to do something about this. I'm seeing this happening and we need to stop it. And he's like, what are you trying to accomplish? I'm like, having everyone shop safe. And so he said, run with it, let's go. Make it a program, get some partners with our organized retail theft unit, and have them connect you to the store managers, and then get out there, boots on the ground. And so I did. And we created this flyer, and now I'm starting to train local law enforcement volunteers because it's really become robust, and the ripple effect is incredible of just hoping that we can have more coverage to talk to you guys while you're just grocery shopping, to open the conversation about scams, make you guys aware of Placer Protect existing, and that we're here for you guys, that the DA's office cares, that the grocery store cares, that we all should care to help keep Placer a safe place to shop local and to shop safely. And so if you're interested in helping with that program, it's been really great. The feedback's amazing. You can go to Lincoln PD if that's where you live, or whatever city you live in, and become a volunteer, and then let me know, because I can utilize volunteers through law enforcement agencies. And that's what I started to do. And now we have a lot of different locations on board, and just as you can, maybe 1 hour a month, you go to your local grocery store and you identify yourself, not as a scammer, but as law enforcement's volunteer that cares, like I said, and we just noticed your purse is unzipped, and here's some shopping safety tips, as simple as please only carry one credit card, use a credit card, don't even carry cash, don't carry debit cards, and if you have payments online, use a credit card for auto pay in case it's compromised. Credit cards have a better chance to get your money back if you dispute it as fraud. Debit cards, money's usually just gone. If you lose your wallet or you lose that debit card, it's just, it's gone. The money's gone like cash. It's hard to get it back. But credit cards, it's a little secure to get money back. So we're grateful for that program and hoping just to keep you guys safe in those shopping centers. So again, the contact, you can hit me up after this if you're interested, and we can talk more about it. But it's been neat. I'm starting to go out and I see people. We have crossbody bags. That was amazing, through grant funding that we purchased with a zipper that you can wear, that I put these brochures into, and I give it for free to the elder. Everyone loves free things, and they can use it, and they don't have to worry about somebody stealing out of their purse with their back turned. They can have their hands free. They know it's secure on their body. It also says, Placer Protect. It's just deterring criminal activity and helping keep everybody safe. It's not happening often, but it was happening too often. Like, one victim's one too many, and that's just how we believe Placer County should stay safe, just working together, eliminating crime. Our partners, Adult Protective Services. Who knows what they do? What? Yeah, they protect adults and give services. It's true, but they aren't like Child Protective Services. So Shannon Quigley likes to say that so that you guys know the goal isn't to come in and remove an elder from the home if it's unsafe, but to figure out how to keep them safe in their home. So if the elder wants to live independently and doesn't want to go to a care home, doesn't want a caregiver, it doesn't want help, that's up to them, that's fine, but Adult Protective Services is there if they do want help and they're willing to receive it. So they do a plethora of services. They're a broker of resources. They can make a referral to all sorts of services like counseling and transportation, or Meals on Wheels through our Seniors First partner, and just make sure your medical appointments are being met and your medications are okay. They can do a lot. And so If you feel that there's somebody you know that could benefit from having somebody check in on them and discuss options to keep them either independent or to get them into a home if they want to leave their house and go into a facility to be kept there, like, and be able to interact with people there and be able to have maybe a smaller room to take care of. Maybe the house was getting too much. There's a million reasons, but it's up to the elder to decide. So, for example, if you guys made not a police report, it's completely different. If you made an Adult Protective Services report, you can call that phone number at any time of day and night. You don't have to know something is wrong, but you listen to your instincts that maybe something's wrong. So maybe you saw Ruth down the street get her mail every day, and all of a sudden you don't really see Ruth. You can call and you can just make sure that you did your due diligence of being just a good human, and the Adult Protective Services will reach out to Ruth or will go to Ruth's house. And they won't tell Ruth that Linda down the street told us that you don't get your mail anymore. You know, it's like, it's not like that. But it goes to the flip side. I get a lot of calls that say, I called Adult Protective Services. They won't tell me anything. They didn't do anything. Not true. There's a lot that they do that they can't tell you to protect Ruth's, confidentiality. She doesn't want people knowing that maybe she, needs a caregiver for reasons, or she said no, but either way, it's confidential, both sides of it. And the point is, you can't make too many, and you can call every week if you still think something's wrong. You can call me. I can see the status of what's going on with Adult Protective Services. That's the beauty of Placer Protect. I can reach out to them and be like, hey, did you get a report about Ruth? Somebody's concerned. What's going on with Ruth? Or we cross-report to law enforcement. If hey, they responded to Ruth's home and they realized her adult child is there, maybe abusing drugs or maybe taking advantage of her financially, then we'll report that to law enforcement. So it helps, and it's a great thing for you guys to utilize. They're wonderful case managers. They don't go out in a fearful way. They're there to really show comfort and compassion and that somebody cares for them. If you think somebody's caregiver, some cases that their caregiver is taking advantage of them. Some cases we see involves a caregiver getting groceries for the client or the victim. And so the victim trusts them with their debit card and they let them go get a couple bags of groceries. And they do that. So let's do a case example. If I had a caregiver and I gave them my debit card and I said, please go get me a couple bags of groceries. And they did, and they came back and gave it to me. Is that a crime? Okay. Correct, it is not a crime. They did what I wanted, they used my money. What if they go and they get 5 bags of groceries, but they keep 2 in their car and they just or 3 and they just give me 2? That is a crime, but how would I know? And we want you guys to know, ask for receipts. Only give them a credit card. Maybe make a second bank account that card is linked to that has a max of 200, 500, maybe 1,000, no more than that. So if they drained the money and were buying things for themselves, they would have a limit to it, right? So don't just allow them to get your card that's accessed your whole life savings so you can be aware of it. But really, receipts, you guys, if you have somebody caring for somebody, make sure that they are doing that. Suggest a gift card could be actually a smart purchase for this reason. That caregiver only gets a gift card with $100 on it. You can only get me groceries with $100, okay? That's a solution. And then you can have a second set of eyes on a bank account. If you don't want them to access your bank account, they don't have to, but they can be reviewing all transactions to look for maybe $20 was spent here and now it got to 100. They're just suspicious activity or something you're not noticing, because they test the waters. These criminals, if they get access to it, they'll put just $20 extra, and then it starts building, thousands can disappear, and you didn't notice it until it's too late. So those are just some examples. I could talk a lot. I have so much to say. So, but I'm open to questions. But I just want you guys to know that we're here, that we care about you guys, that scams can be prevented if we're aware of it, but it just starts with education, and it starts with talking to each other, and think before making financial decisions, really just take a mental break. But it's okay if it does happen, just share it with others, share it with us, and we'll try to keep others safe through it. That is the fraud hotline that I've discussed. That is my contact. That is the Facebook. You can scan that. That is our website. You can scan that, or I can give it to you afterwards, but please reach out if you do need anything in the future. Yep. Oh, yeah. Okay. I'll do it. I'll come to you if you have questions. You're sweet. Anyone? Couple here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so everyone can hear.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, is LifeLock reputable, and should you have it?
I don't know if it's reputable, but I know people that have it. I don't support things that aren't free. I'd rather you just lock your credit file down free through each credit bureau. But I know people that enjoy it. I don't think it's harmful to do it. We can't vet those things. We can't talk about that. I haven't heard of any issues from it. I'd prefer you guys not having to pay if you could avoid it, and just taking the extra precautions, like we said, freezing the credit file, checking your credit report, having bank statements monitored by someone else, power of attorney. Go to your bank, ask them, what security measures can you do? What alerts do you do? How would you alert me so I know that it's you, not a scam? But with that, when they say, oh, we do send a text message. Okay, well, when you get that text message, I'd still go get your credit or debit card and call. If you don't want to drive down to the bank, which is the best step to take, go directly to the source in person, but call the number on the back for member services, or call the bank branch with the number you trust. So just talk to your bank. They all probably have different ways that they can secure your money.
I've run across a website or a service online called Incogni, and it sounds like cognition and that sort of thing. They claim to have it's a subscription type of thing, but they claim they can go out and clear your data from over 400 broker websites. They get fairly good reviews from people like PC Mag and Macworld, typically in the top 5 or 10 publications. And it took me about a month to have them go through, and they said they could clear about, well, I think I'm up to 380 some odd websites that they've taken my personal data off of. Now, I have no way of verifying that because 400 websites, but they claim that if you were trying to clear it yourself, you'd have several hundred hours trying to do that. Have you heard about it?
No, I haven't heard of that specifically, but I've heard of ways that people are trying to remove their info off of the internet. I don't encourage you paying, hopefully, for that to occur, because it could clear from some, but it's not going to clear from all. There's no way to get all of your info off of the internet, and one new website's going to pop up and it's just how the algorithms work now. People are paid through Google to share your info, so that's why we just want you to make sure you're monitoring your accounts truly and protecting your identity, like shredding the mail that comes or having a locked mailbox. Anything that has personal identifying info, just get rid of it. If it's a letter, shred it, that has account numbers or account info from Verizon. So I don't know how legit it is, but I'm sure it cleared it, but then just more are gonna find your info. So.
Add something to that. It took out about 80% of my spam within a couple of weeks. So there were positive results, but the spam is, like you say, is creeping back in. So
it's not gonna go away, especially with artificial intelligence, and that's why we're just making sure you're aware of it. You can block an email address, they'll just do a new one. You can block a phone number and the next new number through a different burner phone or a different app, or you can make a Google phone number for free now. So it doesn't diminish it too much at all, unfortunately.
I just have a question about the passwords, I have all the passwords. I keep them in the safe, all that kind of thing. But, I have different friends that have lots of investments, lots of homes and stuff, and they trust those ones where it's encrypted and you have, what I mean by that? Are those, what do you know about that?
I guess that's okay. I just like to have my own passwords and have a list that's not easily found that should be in a safe. Yeah, I don't know, because then it has to autofill through face recognition, or if you don't remember it, it's then you have to reset. I just rather create your own and make sure it's unique and nobody has access to knowing it. So, yeah, I would just stick to the traditional way of doing it if you could, but making sure you're keeping that hidden. Yeah.
I just wanted to ask about the spam phone calls. I get a lot of them.
Do you have she's asking if there's, well, about spam calls in general. If you have an iPhone, I know how to filter at least the spam calls. If you do, I'll hang out afterwards. I don't know how to use Androids very well. Oh, the house phone. Yeah, it's very hard to, some people say they answer it and they don't say anything, and then it kind of responds as like a not active line, and maybe it removes you. You can go onto the donotcall.gov website and put your number in. It just doesn't stop, though. It's unfortunate. But as I was saying, iPhones have a way of filtering spam calls, so if the number's not saved in your phone contacts, it'll send it straight to voicemail. So at least you're not getting ringing all day and have to ignore the call. It goes straight to voicemail. However, with that, they can still leave a voicemail pretending, it's always CVS to me, or like blood donor, or Sutter Health, or somebody with billing issues, or sign me up for 30% off. I still see the voicemails, I delete it. But at least I'm not getting the ringing all day. So I can show you how to filter spam unknown callers on an iPhone if you like afterwards.
I had a Ring doorbell announcement the other day, and I looked out on my patio, and there was a woman, and she had like a little go-kart that was stuffed with papers. Now, I was a hospice nurse, so I used to do the same similar thing, but I would call my patients ahead of time. She had never called, and I said, "Who are you?" And she said, "I'm here for a procedure." And I said, "A procedure for who?" And she looks in her purse. She didn't even know who she was calling on. And she says, "The patient's first name is Carol," which is my name. Then I said, "And what's her last name?" And she goes back in her purse, and she comes out, and she says, "My last name." And I said, "You never even called me. You've never identified yourself, who you are. How did you get my name?" And she said, from Sutter. And I said, "Well, I'm not a Sutter patient, I'm a Kaiser patient." And she goes, "Oh, you are? Well, can I still come in?" And I said, I looked outside, and she had this big fancy car. And I said, "I don't know what your game is, but you better get out of here." And I said, "Don't do this again." So she left, and I called Sutter, and I asked them, "Do you have somebody in home care?" And I gave them my name, and they said, they did a little detection, and then they said, "No, we have nothing." She said, "You call the police." So I called the Lincoln police, and I gave them a description of her. I have 4 pictures of her on my ring. And he said, "Oh, it's definitely a scam." I said, "Well, I knew it was, but I'm wondering if she's been doing this, going to people's homes trying to get in."
Good job.
Yeah.
I have so much to say about that. First, yay for not allowing her in your home, and not allowing her to interact with you any further, asking great questions, and following up with a trusted number to Sutter to make sure they don't send somebody out, and law enforcement. It's everything I would want you to do. So, yeah, maybe, like I said, maybe she drove around the neighborhood, put in an address, and saw your name associated with it. Maybe she got a letter out of the mail that has your name on it from Kaiser or Verizon or whoever, and that's who they claim to be because they know you have an account with it. Who knows? That's sketchy. That's scary. That's what we don't want to hear happening. So good job knowing red flags and not falling victim to anything. Who knows what her game plan was, honestly. And I'm glad you shared that so all of you now know if that happens to you, that it's a scam. And that's the best we can do, is telling law enforcement and covering your X, Y, and Z with calling Sutter with the number you trust. Please don't ever open the door to a stranger. Please don't engage with them. That's like contractors or somebody trying to solicit their work. Big red flag. One sad story. There's always stories I could tell you guys, but one is just a painter was going around the neighborhood and knocking on the doors trying to sell their paint services. They did some homes, and they were good at doing that, and then they got to a home that was the resident had dementia. And they didn't know that until they started interacting, it appears, with the resident. And noticed that Joe was forgetful. And so they went back to Joe's house like 5 days in a row and told Joe that he owed them money for the paint work. And Joe believed them. And so that's the other thing I want you guys, if you have Joe as your neighbor, that you know somebody has dementia or is kind of becoming cognitively impaired, memory loss, please look out extra for them because that can happen. And if somebody's wandering the neighborhoods, you can call law enforcement and report it and just say it's suspicious, I'm not sure. Especially in Sun City, somebody young walking around, it's a red flag, And Lincoln cares, we all care. So yeah, that's interesting. I don't know her goal. And what I do know, I learned through a case, is you should say something or have Alexa say something if somebody knocks on your door so that they know somebody is home, though, so that they don't enter it thinking somebody's not home, because that could be their tactic, too. Like, just, oops, I was just, pretending to be Sutter, but they were actually scoping the scene to see if they could go through a window or something. So say something so they know you're present.
I was going to say, I feel more safe knowing that I have a security screen door.
Yeah, yeah.
We have one at the back of our garage and the front.
Good job.
And windows that I can look out and see who it is. Yeah. But I will usually open it if, but I feel a lot more secure. Of course, if they had a gun, it wouldn't do any good.
Yes, yeah, and if you have a Ring camera, there's a way to register it with Lincoln PD and say that Carol didn't have a Ring camera, but you did across the street. You could share that with Lincoln. Be like, well, I probably got it. They're not watching through your camera. People get worried about that. It's only in cases where it's beneficial to maybe finding the perpetrators. So you could register.
That's another thought with our security system we have. When someone rings the doorbell, I get it on my phone, and I can look and see who's there. So I love that.
Yeah. Placer is safe, but things happen, and we're seeing other surrounding cities increasing crime, and we're trying to keep it out of here.
You said if someone knocks on your door or rings the doorbell, you should.
I'd like to say, who's there? What do you want?
What do you say? I mean, you don't open the door, you talk through the door, and you say, who's there?
Yeah.
But doesn't that tell them that you're by yourself?
Not always, but it's better than them thinking you're not there. And then you can say, I'm calling the police. Go away. I don't know you. Go away. Who are you? Yeah, right. Like, just call them out. If you really don't know them, like, I don't know you. I'm calling the police. Yeah. Yeah, one of the investigators, I live alone, and I'm always like, sometimes, but they're like, Cassidy, you can have Alexa bark somehow. I don't have Alexa, but I was like, oh my God, Alexa bark, and it's just like, rah. So just, I was like, cool idea, but you have to have it in an area near the front, and I don't know how to set that up, but kind of cool. Or why don't you guys just start barking? Everyone just start barking. Oh my God, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go back and tell investigations. I'm just going to bark. Be the own watchdog. Okay. Don't tell DA Geyer I'm having you bark. I'm just kidding.
I could say, Alexa, call 911.
Yeah, maybe.
I have a really good question.
Please hold
Okay.
so they can hear.
You're old, you're alone, no children, no super close people. We have our church. But financially speaking, how is the best and safest way to find a trusted fiduciary?
Oh, good question.
Thank you.
That's a good question. We don't have specific ones we partner with, and I just say asking friends. I mean, asking each other who's already had one and they used. And also there's websites that are legit ones that I could send you, like elderlaw.com, or there's real ones, but again, through Legal Services of Northern California, I can get you their contact. I might have some more in my backpack. And you call and they either will, I don't think they help you draft it up, but they will review it after you draft it with a lawyer with you. But they should be able to give you the website to find one. And then you just vet them yourself, unfortunately. Yeah, yeah. So just like a contractor, read the reviews, put their name in online, compare with other people. Don't just go with the first one that you're told about. Get like quotes, multiple quotes and estimates and referrals, and read the reviews.
I have a AAA, you know, towing and stuff. Can they get a hold of one of these and use this, the AAA, you know?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure you have to show ID now when they respond to the tow. Yeah.
And this AARP, I just keep getting bombarded from stuff from them.
Oh, AARP. Oh, you don't use it? Then, yeah, cut it. If you don't want it, cut it up before you throw it away. And if you're getting emails, you can block the contact now, scroll all the way down, not just unsubscribe, but you can block contacts. If it's like a person like AARP, hopefully that unsubscribes you. If it's just random people, it's delete. Yeah, if you don't use it, don't need to carry it. That also, like say that fell out of your purse, now it's somebody getting that access to your name and knowing you have AARP, they'll call pretending to be that. So if you don't need anything, eliminate everything out of your purse you wouldn't want people to find.
I have a good one. One of my friends was visiting her sister, and her doorbell rang, and of course it landed on her phone. So she got on her phone and she said, who are you and what do you want? You know, because you can do that with your bell. And he says, you know, whatever it was. And she says, well, I'm sick and I'm in the house, and if you don't go away, I will call the police. So, but she wasn't. She was like in LA instead of here, but that was a good one.
That is good. Yep.
The fingerprint, is that more secure for, instead of the pen, the fingerprint?
Oh. Yeah, like on your cell phone, the finger passcode, the bank fingerprints, tapping it instead of entering a PIN code. Yeah, that could help somebody not overlook your shoulder. If you see someone at the grocery store shoulder surfing you, watching you enter it, or at the bank ATM, watching you enter a PIN code to access your account, yeah, just kind of be like, hey, but please back up, you know, tell the employee there, or go directly inside of the bank. But yeah, at gas stations, you know, people hear about those card scanners, and we can't really verify how to protect that, so maybe tapping is better, or taking it in to the bank teller, or the gas clerk. Yeah, it's hard, and then just really having security alerts on your bank.
I have another problem where I rent the guy that owns a house. I don't have a screen or any protection, just the door. And I told him, I said, would you please, you know, get me a screen or something? I've lived there a couple years. And I said, I don't feel safe. And he said, well, you got the little hole there. You can look through the little hole. And then he said, and then you've got a window there. He said, you can open your window and look out and see who's standing there. You know?
Legal Services of Northern California, again, they can advise on housing renter rights. So you could ask them, if I don't feel safe, is the landlord responsible for getting me a security door? Then that'd be a good start to ask them. Yeah. Anyone else? Happy to answer questions. If not, you can talk to me afterwards, but thank you for having me. We care about you guys. We got to care about each other, and just stay safe. Thanks.